Once upon a time, in a cozy little room filled with sunshine and dreams, a girl named Margo woke up. She stretched her arms, blinked her eyes, and looked for her best friend, a fluffy brown teddy bear. But wait! His usual spot on her pillow was empty. Margot's heart did a little flip-flop. Where could he be? Her room was her whole world, a magical kingdom of toys, books, and colorful drawings. But now, it felt a bit empty without her bear. She scanned every corner, her eyes darting from the tall bookshelf to the dollhouse in the corner. Nothing. He wasn't there. Margot hopped out of bed, her bare feet soft on the wooden floor. Maybe he'd fallen off during the night? She got on her hands and knees and peered under the bed. It was a dusty, forgotten land of lost socks and a few stray crayons, but no bear. Her heart sank a little deeper. She stood up and checked behind the big, wide door. Sometimes he'd get wedged there when she opened it too fast. But not today. The space was empty. A little sigh escaped her lips. Next, she went to the big, colorful toy box. It was overflowing with treasures, building blocks, squeaky dinosaurs, and dolls with yarn hair. Margot started digging, carefully moving her other toys aside. She was like an archaeologist searching for a lost artifact. She pulled out a race car, then a puzzle, then a set of stacking rings. She dug and dug until she reached the very bottom, but all she found was a lonely puzzle piece. Her favorite bear was nowhere to be seen. A feeling of worry started to bubble up inside her. He had never been gone for so long. He was her adventure buddy, her sleepy time guardian, the keeper of all her secrets. Margot stood in the middle of her room, feeling a bit lost. She thought hard. Where else could he be? She remembered playing with him in the living room yesterday. Maybe she left him there? With a new flicker of hope, she tiptoed out of her room and down the quiet hallway. The living room was peaceful, with the morning light streaming through the big window, making dust bunnies dance in the air. She checked the sofa cushions, lifting each one. She looked under the coffee table and behind the big comfy armchair where her dad liked to read. Still nothing. The house was so quiet, and the silence seemed to amplify her growing concern. What if he was lost forever? The thought made her feel wobbly. She couldn't imagine her adventures without him. Who would she tell her stories to? Who would she hug when she felt sad? Taking a deep breath, Margot decided she couldn't give up. She was a brave explorer, and explorers don't quit. There was one last place to check. The garden. She had been playing outside with him yesterday afternoon, making little mud pies. With renewed determination, she marched to the back door and pushed it open. The fresh morning air greeted her, smelling of damp earth and sweet flowers. The garden was her special place, a jungle of her own imagination. And that's when she saw it. On the soft, damp soil near the flower beds, there were tiny footprints. They weren't her footprints, and they were much too small to be her parents'. They were delicate, like little stars pressed into the dirt. And next to them, another set of prints. They looked like the faint outline of her bear being dragged along. Her heart started to beat a little faster. This was a clue, a real-life mystery. Forgetting her worry for a moment, Margot embraced her inner detective. She followed the trail of tiny footprints. They led her past the rose bushes, their petals still dewy from the morning mist. They wound around the little vegetable patch where her mom grew carrots and tomatoes. The trail was like a secret map, and Margo followed it with careful steps, her eyes glued to the ground. The footprints seemed to be heading towards the back of the garden, towards the oldest, grandest resident of their yard, the giant oak tree. The old oak tree stood tall and proud, its branches reaching up to the sky like wise, wrinkly arms. It had seen many seasons and probably knew many secrets. As Margo got closer, she heard a faint shuffling sound, a soft rustling in the grass at the base of the tree. And then she saw him, her bear. He was lying on his back, his button eyes staring up at the leaves. But he wasn't alone. A small, fluffy bird was there with him. It was a little robin with a bright red chest. The bird was hopping around the bear, chirping and pecking gently at his fluffy arm, trying with all its might to move him. But the bear, though just a toy, was much too big and heavy for the tiny bird. It would tug and pull, its little wings fluttering with effort, but the bear wouldn't budge more than an inch. It was a funny and touching sight. Margo stood there for a moment, just watching. The little bird wasn't trying to hurt her bear. It seemed like it was trying to collect it. Maybe it thought the bear's fluffy stuffing would make a wonderful, cozy nest. A soft smile spread across Margo's face. Her worry melted away and was replaced by a warm, gentle feeling. She wasn't angry at the little bird. She understood. Her bear was just so soft and comforting. Of course, a little bird would want it for its home. Quietly, so as not to scare the bird, Margo took a few steps forward. "Hello there," she whispered softly. The little robin stopped its struggle and tilted its head, looking at her with its bright, black eyes. It let out a small chirp, as if to say hello back. Margo knelt down beside her bear. She gently picked him up, his familiar weight feeling perfect in her arms. She hugged him tightly, burying her face in his soft fur. Oh, how she had missed him. He smelled like sunshine and home. She looked at the little bird, who was watching her curiously. "He's my friend," Margo explained in a gentle voice, holding up the bear. "But you can have this instead." She looked around and found a fluffy clump of dried moss and a few soft, fallen leaves. She placed them carefully near the base of the tree. "This would make a very nice nest," she said. The bird hopped over, inspected her offering, and gave a happy little trill before starting to gather the new materials. Margo sat down with her back against the strong, steady trunk of the old oak tree. She hugged her bear close, feeling a wave of pure happiness wash over her. The sun was warm on her skin, the birds were singing their morning songs, and her best friend was safe in her arms. She felt peaceful and content. The world felt right again. After a few minutes of quiet, happy cuddles, Margo stood up. She gave the little nest-building bird one last smile and a tiny wave. With her bear tucked securely under her arm, she started walking back towards the house. The garden seemed even more beautiful now. The flowers looked brighter. The sky looked bluer. The little adventure had made her heart feel full. She had been worried, but she had been brave. She had solved a mystery and even made a new, tiny friend. As she stepped back inside, she felt a calm settle over her. The day was just beginning, and with her favorite brown bear by her side, she knew it was going to be a wonderful one, full of new stories to create and new adventures to share. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to follow for more wonderful stories.